with you guys. So, as I was getting into my scraps, I was looking for a piece of quilt batting. So I'm going to do I'm going to attempt to do what they call quilt as you go. I've never tried this. And the other thing I'm going to do, which I don't think it matters, is normally you use quilt batting. So I was getting in my scraps, and the batting that I had weren't exactly the right size. And then I found a piece of polar fleece that I can't do anything with. So I'm going to use a piece of polar fleece instead of actual quilt batting, which will be perfectly fine. I back quilt with fleece anyway, so this will work great. So it was just a scrap. I'm like, it's a big scrap, but it's not like I can really do anything with it, so this is going to work perfect for my table runner. So first thing I'm going to do is I have a piece. This is going to be the back of the table runner. So I wanted my table runner to be about 40 inches long. So I've cut this 40 inches long, but it's 45 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this right down the fold. So I'll have one piece to use as my back, and then I'm going to cut a couple strips out of the other piece for the top. I don't know if I can separate this. Here we go. I'm just splitting this right now. I'm just cutting right in that fold. Because my table runner, I want it to be about 15 inches wide. That's my goal. It might be a little less, but it'll work. Okay, now I'm going to set one half of this aside. So I'm not going to use this at the moment. I'm just going to set that to the side. That's going to be my back. But I am going to cut some strips from this, and I'm just going to make this pretty easy. I'm not going to be doing a lot of blocks. I'm just going to make rows and just cut strips. So I think the first piece I'm going to do is, since this has a big pattern, I'm going to make bigger strips with this. Because I don't want to cut off the design. I don't want to make like little skinny strips and then you can't read this. So I'm probably, let's see, where's my ruler? Let's see how this, let me open this up. We can look at it together. So where the pattern repeats, so if I cut this probably about 9 inches, will be plenty wide enough, then I can see, you know, the pattern that's on this. I forgot how wide this is. So this is a ½ yard. So if I probably just cut this in half, it'll be good for not losing a lot of the design. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this up, and I'm gonna fold it again. Now, when you're cutting quilts, I'm gonna angle this down so y'all can see what I'm doing. You don't need to look at me. So, hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, so I've got this folded. There's kind of 4 layers right here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to straighten up my edge a little bit. Because I want to make sure it's good and straight. And you really need to use these quilting rulers, because as you can see, it's really thick. It's a thick, hard plastic. And the reason they are like that is because then you can use your rotary cutter. It runs right against that. See, it will run right up against that. And I'm just going to trim just a little bit off here. And I hate when I don't cut all the way through. There's like a little hair. Okay. Okay, so I've got that straightened up. And now I'm going to cut, I'm going to do 9 inches. Get this lined up. So now we've got a nice wide piece. Now I'm going to cut, because my polar fleece is just 15 inches wide. I'm going to cut off this little selvage edge right here, because I don't want to get that in my design at all. Cut the other edge too. And then I'll cut 2 pieces. All right. All right, so I'm lining up. I'm gonna go 15.5 just to have a little overhang. Okay, so here's 2 pieces. Then I'm gonna cut strips from the black polka dot, and then I've got some cute little shamrocks, and then I've got these shamrocks. So I'm not going to cut the other ones as wide as the last piece. So I'm just gonna make them different strips. So since this is much a smaller pattern, I'll be able to do like a skinnier strip, and I'll just make them different. So I'm just making this up. I'm just gonna put this together till we get to the length 40. And so I think I will do 3 inches on this one. Actually, we'll do 3.5, because then, okay. And we'll cut the selvage off. And now we're going to cut this 15.5 to match our other. So it is important to make sure everything is lined up. Okay, so we got 2 strips of that. Now this polka dot is a bigger polka dot, so I'm going to make this one, this strip wider for sure. So let's see. Alright, I'm going to straighten up this edge because it's not even right here. So we're going to straighten that up before we cut our row. So I'm going to cut off about 1/2 inch. And I'm just gonna lay the ruler on here and see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What, 5 or 4? So let's do. I think I'm gonna go 4.5. That one. Cut off the salvage edges. Straighten up the ends. And then we'll cut a 15.5-inch strip. Now we're going to get this fabric. Now this I have cut into, so I need to see how much we can, where we can cut into this. Before I start hacking on this. So, yeah, this will be plenty. Perfect. It's good when your scraps work out and you can use them for another project. All right, let me straighten this up. Okay, now let's make this one. What did I do the last one? 4.5. So let's do another 3.5. Three might be. Maybe this one will be skinny. I'm gonna do a skinny one. If I don't like it, I'll cut another one. Okay. Now let me cut this. Cut these little selvage edges off. And then we'll cut this one 15.5. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of lay these out. I've got 2 strips of each cut, so let's see. Oh, well, we can kind of see what it's gonna look like. Oops, I forgot to cut this one. Or did I? Let me trim this one. I cut the width, but I didn't cut the length. So let me cut this one real fast. Make sure you don't have any scraps underneath it. About cut one of the other pieces. Okay. let's start laying this out. We can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. Probably need to iron those pieces, but that's okay. I think this will kind of work. Okay, I'm going to start with this, and then we'll repeat it, and then we'll see if we need some more strips cut. Let's see, I can probably measure. Ballpark is perfect. It's right at 20 ballpark. I got to get stitched, and I needed it to be 40, so that's pretty close. Okay. So, kind of layer these how we're going to sew them. So now I've got my polar fleece. And first thing I'm going to do is just lay this on here like this. And I'm just going to top stitch this on because the backing is going to have make this self-binding, and it will fold over on this. So I don't have to worry about it too much. So I'm just going to do a little 1/4 inch stitching and sew that on. Okay, so the next piece, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to lay this right sides together and stitch this piece facing these right sides together, but through the fleece as well, or your quilt batting, and then it will, fold over. And that's how you do the quilt as you go. Oh, let me put a couple pins because I don't want that to wrinkle up on me. Okay. So now you can see this is attached. And then I'm going to put the black on. Kind of fold this like this. So putting my next strip on. I'm going to sew through all 3 layers. then the next thing, so there's the third piece, and then we've got this piece. So this is our next strip. So this is already sewed through here, so this is how it's getting quilted. So now I'm going to smooth this out, line it up, and do our next row. Okay, take this to the machine. That's looking pretty good so far. All right. Okay, so this was our first piece. I already forgot the order. I had to look at it. All right, what did I do with my scrap? Here we go. So next strip. So this is kind of fun. You can do this any way you want. It can be just random. It can be more scrappy. It can have a theme like mine, the St. Patrick's, or I have another pen right here. So the next one, and as you can see, this goes pretty quick. And now we're starting our pattern again. Turn this way so you can see it. So here's where we're going with this. That's looking pretty cute. I'm gonna turn this way now because I'm kind of getting the length of it. And I'm just making sure this is nice and smoothed out. If you want to iron it in between, you can. I'm laying it right sides together. Make sure it's all nice and straight and smooth. Our next piece is the polka dot again. And then our last piece, and this is gonna work out, oh my God, just like perfect. I have no idea how I did that. That was pure luck. Okay, so we just sewed the last piece for the top. Now I do need to probably press this before I put the back on, but it's looking pretty cute. So it's just kind of a little scrappy theme. I like the black to kind of separate the green. Okay, so the piece that I set aside for the back. Now what I'm going to do is I will first iron this. You guys might have to come with me to go iron. Get all this out of the way, maybe y'all can see this. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to lay this out. And then I'm going to lay the quilted piece on the inside. And I'm gonna have to trim this down, the back piece. Let me see how much. So I want to make sure that there is enough to fold over this way, because this is how we are going to self-bind this. We are going to just fold these edges over. Now we've got too much on either side, so I don't need, well, I say that, maybe I don't. Let's see. So if we make this 2 inches on one side, we could fold this over, just like this, and make our binding like that, but I think the other side has got, yeah, it's too much. So I'm gonna measure this and trim it up. So we have 15.5, and I want 4 extra inches, so we want to be able to fold it 19.5. And this is measuring right at 22.5. So we want to cut off 3 inches. So I'm going to cut it off this selvage edge right here. Alright, so I'm cutting off 3 inches. So now that's going to give us 2 inches on either side to fold over and make that self-binding. All right, you all give me just 1 minute. Okay, I'm gonna bring the iron out here. We'll get everything nice and smooth. Move this. I've got this nice tabletop ironing pad. Super handy. Because you definitely do not want to iron on your mat because it will warp it. Get the iron warmed up here. So first thing we're going to do is iron the top piece. Now let me iron the back piece and then we'll get it all sandwiched together and ready to make that binding. Okay, so I've got the right side down, so I'm putting wrong sides together, and I'm laying my quilted piece just right inside the polka dot of the backing. And I want it to measure, I want to be 2 inches on either side. That's good. I'm just using my little hem gauge. This is like one of my favorite, most used tools. I'm just smoothing this out, make sure the batting's all nice and smooth underneath it. Now, so what I'm going to do down each side is I'm going to take the polka dot and I'm going to fold it up to the quilting, and then I will fold it one more time over the quilting. And then I'm going to put a pin. Now fold this side, fold the outer edge just up to the quilting, and then fold it one more time so it folds over and you're pinning through all the layers. pull this down and shimmy it. And I'm just continuing down each side. Put a few pins. If you want to press it, you can. It's up to you. You want to press that little edge. I'm starting to notice an issue, so I may have to unpin this, and I'm gonna show you the issue. This is not laying in here straight, so I either haven't cut the backing straight or something's not straight. So I'm gonna unpin this real fast, or I'm gonna lay it out and look at it real quick and see what is not straight. So I think my backing is not straight. I'm gonna shimmy this down just a tiny bit because I've got more of the backing on the other end than I do this end. So I'm gonna scoot this down just a little bit. And this is kind of a pill to move because the polar fleece is not going to slide on your fabric. And you want to make sure you don't wrinkle the backing, you know, so when you sew it on there, it doesn't have a wrinkle. So just be careful. Okay, so that's what will work better. Okay, we're back on track. I just had to move it down just a tiny bit because I want to make sure I've got enough to fold over on the ends. Put a couple pins. And I'm just, again, folding the backing to the quilting part and then fold it one more time over it. And just kind of smooth the fabric out as you pin it. Okay, so we're going to take this over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew down either side right here and sew our self-binding to the quilted part. going to turn it and stitch down the other side. Okay, we have both sides stitched down. So now what we're going to do is we need to just finish the ends right here. Now I'm not doing any type of mitering. We're not doing anything difficult. It's very easy. So all I'm going to do is kind of like when you're wrapping a present. Let's get this, make sure I can see really well. Oh, hold on. I was gonna scoot it down and now my tripod doesn't want to stay up. Hold on. Tighten it up. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take the corner right here and I'm going to fold the corner in. And then I'm going to fold this down once and just do like I did before and then fold it again. Let me get my pins here. So it kind of has the look of a miter, but it's not really. I probably should have made my backing a little bit longer, but I didn't, so we're going to work with it. And I am getting some of the fleece in the fold, so it's a little bit thicker. So I'm taking the other corner, I'm going to fold that in. And then I'm going to fold that raw edge once and then fold it twice. Get my pins. Now because this is including, does have some of the batting in it, I think I might iron this. Just to kind of help hold it. That way when I stitch it, it doesn't get lumpy or anything. We'll stitch this one and then we'll fold the other one, stitch it down, and we will be finished. Now, I am going to show you one other thing. So on this corner right here, I am going to stitch from the point down just so that that's not open. And then when I get to this point, then I'll just stitch down the edge, okay? So I will start at this point, come in, and then turn, and then come down the side. I do want to make sure that my needle is down right when I get to the point where I need to kind of swing it around, and now I'm going to straighten it up. Uh-oh, my thread just broke. then once I get to the other side, I'm going to stop where I folded it, put that needle down. I'm going to swing it and kind of angle right out and finish at that corner. And do a little back stitch. That way where it's folded, it is stitched down and it's not open. So if you can see that stitching right there. So I did stitch to that corner. Okay, now we're going to do the other side and we'll be finished here momentarily. Okay. Now this is where this is not cut straight. I'm gonna straighten this up for a second. This is why it's important to make sure you have everything even, because this piece is even, but I could tell that one wasn't. I'm like, that's not gonna work well. So I'm taking this point and I'm gonna fold it in, just kind of like finishing up a package, like when you're wrapping something. Fold that corner down, and then I'm gonna fold this raw edge. Whoops. And then fold it up one more time. Get a pin. And fold the raw edge over, and then fold it one more time. Now I'm taking the other corner, fold it in, fold that corner over, all right. And I'm going to press this real quick. Oops. All right, we're nice and pressed. I'm going to stitch this last side and we'll be finished. And oh, that's coming untucked. Let me tuck that back in. So I'm going to start at the corner and come in. Got to the corner, and I'm going to take straight across here. Cut this thread, and that's it. Now we have a super cute, I'm going to press this again because I've got it kind of wrinkled as I was working with it. So it looks nice on my table. So here it is, the finished product. Super quick and easy. You can make these for any holiday. If you wanted to do more quilting, like all over, you can certainly do that. But so this is actually, as we flipped it over, it's sewn to the polar fleece. So that is technically, you know, got it quilted. It kind of gives it a nice feel, but it's not separate. So it is through that layer. So it's pretty cool. So I have not done that technique before, but I do like it, and I've seen other projects doing that. This is just kind of an easy version. You could definitely do an entire quilt this way, like if you were doing a jelly roll quilt where you buy the rolls that are already pre-cut strips. So you could totally do that. So I'm excited to put this on the table. Now I've got something to decorate my table with, because all I had was some cute door hangers. So since today is the first day of quilting, or March is quilt month. So I'm going to do some more projects this month, doing different types of quilting projects. If you have a suggestion, you know, throw it out to me. If I know how to do it, I might do the video. But my next project is going to be one of my favorite, from my favorite books, the 3-Yard Quilts. So I'm going to be doing this one right here. And I've got some super cute fabric for it. I can't wait to show you. And I finished a quilt top yesterday and one last week from the 3-Yard Quilts from a different book. Let me show you which ones I did. So yesterday I did this pattern right here. And then the one I did last week is this pattern. So these are super fun and easy. So if you've ever wanted to try quilting, I highly recommend these books. They're very easy to follow. They go very quickly, and the 3-Yard Quilts make a really nice throw size. So I make these to give to people. But there are instructions to make the bigger sizes in the book, but they're just kind of fun just to put together the smaller sizes. So just wanted to share that with you. If you have a interest in quilting, I just wanted to refer that to you. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and